Thank you. Mr. Speaker, today I rise in this place in order to address a question of privilege that has been raised with regards to the Speaker's public display of partisanship. Now, of course, we know that the Speaker of this place occupies a position of trust, and we know that within that position of trust, he is supposed to function in an impartial manner. He is supposed to apply the rules in this place equally to all members of all parties. When he functions in a partisan capacity, however, he then betrays the trust of those who occupy a seat within the House of Commons. He goes beyond the scope of his role and actually uses it then for the benefit of his political party, in this case, the Liberal Party of Canada. The events that I'm talking about are several in nature, but the latest one was a summer evening with the Honourable Greg Fergus, said the announcement. And this was a fundraiser that was hosted just across the river in Quebec, or deemed to be hosted just across the river in Quebec. And this invitation was sent out, drawing attention to the Speaker as the keynote. But this isn't the first time. This is the latest event that brings us to the House calling for his resignation or calling for a vote to remove him. But before this, there was a cocktail fundraiser dinner that was hosted just a couple of months ago, where again, he was used as the keynote of this address or this function. And of course, as Speaker, he was promoted, again in a partisan fashion, and used as an individual who could help elicit funds for the Liberal Party of Canada. And that's not all. There's a third one that I would like to draw the House's attention to, and that is that the Speaker actually, in his full outfit, jet-setted to Washington and addressed the audience that he was given there and talked about his time as a young Liberal, and in a very partisan fashion addressed the audience that was in front of him, his third strike. But there's two more that I would like to draw this House's attention to, for a total of 5 within just the last few months of him being Speaker. In this place, there was an interaction that took place between the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Official Opposition. The Prime Minister exchanged words or used words to accuse the Official Opposition of being a, quote, spineless leader. And in retort, the Leader of the Opposition responded with words that were similar. Yeah. The Speaker of the House said nothing to the Prime Minister, but then went on to kick out the member of the Official Opposition, again pointing to a partisan decision.
And he kicked you out
too. And there's
a
fifth incident that I would like to draw attention to, and that is I myself was removed from this place. I was removed from this place because I used these words toward the Speaker. I said that he was, quote, acting in a disgraceful manner, end quote. I was asked by the Speaker of the House to withdraw my words, which I rose in my seat and I said, I withdraw. However, the Speaker went on to kick me out of the House, not just for a little while, but actually for the remainder of the day, therefore robbing the constituents of Lethbridge from having a vote in this place. Now, Madam Speaker, it is the practice of this House, and it is in fact according to the standing orders, that should a member stand in her place and withdraw those words, she should be allowed to stay. But the Speaker, functioning in a partisan capacity, removed me. If those blues are looked at, it is very clear that I said I withdraw. It is in the official record of the House. If the audio is listened to, you can hear me say those words, I withdraw. Yeah. It is clear within the audio record of this House. But when it came to the Hansard, which is signed off by the Speaker's office, those words, I withdraw, were conveniently removed. So there is already another question of privilege before this place, which is to say, why were those words removed? Why did the Speaker's office sign off on official Hansard records that remove my withdrawal? Madam Speaker, in this place, the Speaker must function in a trusted capacity. He must respect the members of this place, and he must never be partisan in nature, nor should records ever be officially changed based on what is convenient for him. Madam Speaker, based on his conduct over these 5 incidents, we are asking for his resignation, and if not, then we would like to remove him through a vote.
Hear, hear.
Questions and comments. Questions et commentaires. The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Government House Leader.
Yes, Madam Speaker, let there be no doubt that the Conservative Party is just playing a game here. This is the Conservative right mega attacks on the institution itself. And let's be very clear, the Conservatives do have a double standard. When it was a Conservative House Leader that was the Speaker that has a fundraiser, no problem. Not one Conservative stands up. On the issue that we have before us in the last 24 hours, Madam Speaker, It's something in which it had nothing to do with the Speaker. It was the Liberal Party of Canada that formally apologized for doing and publishing what they did. So they're punishing or attempting to punish the wrong entity, Madam Speaker. The question to the member and the Conservative caucus today is how can they continue to make a mockery of what it is that faces reality when this Speaker in this situation did absolutely nothing wrong?
Great question.
Absolutely nothing wrong. Yeah, okay,
Madam
bud.
Speaker, I think the member addresses exactly the problem with this place. The fact that the Liberal members don't see anything wrong with the Speaker functioning in a partisan capacity 5 times in the last few months. 5 times. 1 might be forgivable, 2 possibly, but 5 times. And for the honourable member to say that standing up for democracy and wanting to protect the institution of Parliament is, quote, desperate, to use his words, makes me question his commitment to democracy and the very foundations of Canada and what our forefathers fought for.
Here, good
José,
comeback.
commentaire. Question, l'honorable député de
Great
Longueuil.
comeback.
The Honourable Member for Longueuil, Saint-Hubert.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to ask the Government House Leader whether he finds it appropriate that the Speaker of the House of Commons, while in his robes, did a video for a provincial Liberal partisan. I want to know whether or not the Government House Leader thinks it's appropriate that the Speaker of the House, while on an official junket to Washington, relived his glory days as a partisan Liberal youth. I want to know from the Government House Leader whether he thinks it was appropriate that the Speaker use Liberal talking points to attack the Leader of the Opposition in a fundraising email to Liberal partisans. I want to know whether or not the Government House Leader thinks that was appropriate and whether or not he would see the same problem if a Conservative Speaker had done it, or whether or not there's a double standard here depending on who is in the Speaker's chair.
Oh, wow.
Government House Leader.
Madam Speaker, the great thing about this place is that we will soon be able to all stand up and say what we think is appropriate.
That's right.
And what we think
And
is
you
appropriate.
have the most votes.
First, in
with
some
the
of the
NDP.
instances mentioned by the member, the Speaker took responsibility and apologized for that as a new Speaker. In the second instance, or another of the instances that he mentions, the Liberal Party took full responsibility, made an apology to the Speaker, and a normal Parliament, a Parliament that was collegial, a Parliament that respected the chair and respected the offices, would be satisfied with that. But not this Conservative Party. Not this Conservative
Look
Party
at how many
which
times it's
stands
happened.
up in this place every day, devoid of a simple alternative and a simple idea, and simply obstructs, simply tries to prevent this House from moving forward on the issues that will help Canadians today. That's the disappointing part, Madam Speaker.